Good morning. I'm Paulus Skruibis. I'm welcoming you from Vilnius University, the Faculty of Philosophy, which is quite empty at the moment for understandable reasons. Welcome to the fifth conference on suicide prevention methods. I can see that were quite numerous. There were 1,150 registrations. Not everybody has joined us yet, but we have quite a significant participation. Without further ado, I would like to start the conference. We'll listen to a couple of introductory speeches, and then we'll start our presentations. This conference has been financed by Vilnius Municipality from the very beginning, so this means that we've had stable and significant support from the municipality. All conferences have been opened by Vilnius Mayor, Mr. Šimašius, and I would now like to ask him to say a few words. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whether you are at your office or you are just waking up, welcome to this fifth conference. Well, time flies because I had the impression that when I started leading the municipality, the topic that wasn't considered to be very important, or it was a rather inconvenient topic, has grown into a significant topic. And I'm very happy to see that the number of suicides has fallen, especially in Vilnius. Of course, I would like to see those numbers fall even further. I would like to wish you productive work today, and more importantly, I hope that all the colleagues who are gathered here, including Paulus and others, would be able to achieve another objective, to make sure that the topic of suicide prevention would become a topic of national importance. I'm happy to welcome the new government and the newly nominated health minister, although he is not a doctor by profession. He doesn't have education in the medical field, but he's a good manager, and I hope that he'll be able to focus on the most important issues. Let us hope that this topic will be considered at national and international level and will help to raise awareness. And to all the participants who have joined us, I wish you a good day, a lot of new knowledge, and I hope that we'll be able to be happy that we were able to save more lives. Thank you. Thank you to the mayor. Well, it is true that from the very beginning, from the very first conference, we always felt a very strong support from Mr. Mykolas Majauskas, who was first a member of the city council and now he's a member of the parliament. So I will give the floor to Mykolas to say a few introductory remarks. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm sending you my regards from the Parliament building. Well, the building is quite empty this week, and probably it will be empty next week because a lot of my colleagues had to self-isolate. However, I hope that after all this is behind us, we'll be able to go back and to continue our work. And those who are here, we've been discussing, and we were very happy that this conference is taking place. I would like to thank the organizers and say that big things started from a couple of knowledgeable people, a couple of people who had a lot of knowledge and were experts in the field. So 5 years ago, I had a unique opportunity to join the best experts in this field as an amateur. So I made sure that these people who care would get the necessary funding in order to do their work. So the municipality, Vilnius municipality, signed a memorandum. So things started moving in Vilnius, but there was no such movement elsewhere. So it was thanks to Paulus Skroibis and his assistants that a network of assistance or support was established throughout Lithuania. Well, we criticized our government, our minister, and all those who objected to the essential change. And we were not criticizing certain programs or salaries in this in the health sector. We wanted to implement essential reforms and to change the approach towards mental health. Now we have an opportunity to do that, and we feel that this huge responsibility. So this is a huge responsibility on the one hand, but on the other hand, we now have an opportunity to implement all the things that we heard during conferences of this type. I think that there's no place for looking for those who are guilty. There is no place to criticize the minister. Well, it is now time to take action, and we will take action. On my own part, I would like to encourage you to continue criticizing the government, to think critically, and also not only criticize but also advise the government and to support those people who want to contribute to the essential change. I would like to encourage those people to join the government team and let us try and implement change together. So thank you, Paulus, once again. Thank you to your entire team. Thank you for this interesting conference that has been growing every year. It is a very useful platform where we can learn and decide what specific action should be taken to address the problems that we are discussing. Thank you. Thank you, Mykolas. I'm Jurgita Rinkevičienė. I'm from the Suicidology Research Center at Vilnius University. Welcome to this conference. I'm very happy to see you or feel that you are participating in this remote conference, this virtual conference. I'm very happy to say that the things that started with this conference 4 or 5 years ago have found their way to real life. So it was during this conference that we started speaking about the CAMS method, the SIT method, and these methods have become accessible to a greater number of people. So I believe that conferences of this type are really meaningful, and I hope that the things that you will hear today will be used in practice. When we organize this conference every year, we try to think of new things, but it's becoming more and more difficult. Well, this year's conference is slightly different in the sense that we want to reflect the changes that are taking place. Well, we can't avoid speaking about the pandemic. We believe that we should also speak about cultural and historic trauma. We're also continuing our tradition to speak about specific intervention methods. We are going to speak about assistance and support that should be provided to the relatives of people who die by suicide. Well, this support is now lacking, and 9 out of 10 people say that, especially during the crisis, this support should be offered actively. I'm very happy that we're going to listen to a presentation from Australia. We will hear how a small community expanded and is now implementing a postvention program of support throughout Australia. Uh, in addition to helping people who are suffering, we would also like to turn inside and look at the experts who provide support. Well, last year we heard a lot of questions. So, what should we do if we try to support our clients but they still commit suicide? Last year, our center carried out a survey among experts, which showed that about one third of specialists have had a client who died by suicide, but they don't know how to help themselves. So these people, when they experience this loss, they say that it is very important to get support from other experts. And one of the most important things is to reduce the feeling of loneliness. So we need to try and reduce the feeling of loneliness. We should turn back to ourselves, and we should not only help others, but we should also learn how to help ourselves. So I'm very happy, well, to see you participating, although I can't see you. I know that you are listening. I hope that you will bring some useful and important things away from this conference. I would also like to thank Paulus for organizing this conference every year. Thank you for your patience. I would also like to thank the Union of Psychologists. That union is a very important partner who contributes to the organization of this conference. Thank you to Jokūbas. And thank you to Vilnius Municipality, because it is thanks to them that we can continue this tradition. So thank you very much. I wish you a good time during this conference, and I'll give the floor back to Paulus. Thank you, Jurgita, for your kind words, and thank you for your significant contribution when organizing this conference. Well, you contributed to the agenda of the conference, and it is no accident that we have a couple of presentations from Australia, because Jurgita pursued her doctoral studies in Australia. So Jurgita's contribution is really significant. I would also like to thank the doctoral student of our university, Jurgita Marcinkevičiūtė. I would also like to thank our intern, Greta Užaitė, and the entire suicidology research center, without which we wouldn't have this important information. Thank you, the representatives from the Faculty of Philosophy. Well, later on, we'll probably be able to show you the building where we are. Thank you for equipping the studio from which we are talking. Thank you to Jokūbas Užas for his organizational support. Thank you to Vilnius Municipality, to the mayor, to Mr. Majauskas, and thank you to more than 1,000 participants who registered. Thank you to the speakers, and the speaker kindly thanks the interpreters, Monica and Christina, who will be interpreting this conference. Jurgita has already given a brief introduction to our agenda. I will And I will just add something. Well, of course, we are interested in understanding what we should do during the pandemic when it comes to suicide prevention. I will show a few slides on this, and Mr. Rory O'Connor from Scotland will also give a presentation on that. We'll also hear a presentation about uh, Lithuania's situation. This will be the presentation by Ms. Geležytė. We will also have an interesting discussion. Well, in Lithuania, we often say that our suicidal tendencies are closely related to our historical past. But it turns out that it is not only us who are discussing this. Other countries have also observed certain links between suicides and the historical past. So we will hear a presentation on historic trauma and suicides in Northern Ireland. We will also hear a presentation from our professor, Danutė Gailienė. She will speak about Lithuanian traumas and their links to suicidal tendencies. And I believe that it will be interesting to draw comparisons between the experience of Lithuania and Northern Ireland. Let me give a brief introduction on the situation in Lithuania. So, what changes have we observed during the pandemic, and how this affected the situation of suicides? Well, we know that the number of suicides has been decreasing in Lithuania. This slide shows the situation in 2020 compared with the previous 3 years. And you can see that during the first 6 months of this year, up until May, the number of suicides was going down in line with the previous years. However, the situation changed in June. We had a hike of 7% in June. And we can see that that decreasing trend has stopped. And this is especially evident if we compare 2020 with 2019. So the increase in June and July is about 30%. So since we observed decreasing trends in 2017 and 2019, I believe that comparison with 2019 makes all the trends even more evident. So, well, we can't say that the situation is very dramatic. There were some signs of certain increases during the previous years. Well, the most important period will be this autumn, because we know that the situation is really difficult because of the pandemic. So the likelihood of that the number of suicides will increase is very great. Well, yesterday I saw some data from Japan, and Japan is quite similar to Lithuania. So there was a decrease in spring and an increasing trend in autumn. So what can we do to make sure that the number of suicides doesn't go up? So I believe that we all, that is 1,100 participants, should give it a thought. We should also try to see which groups are most vulnerable. So thank you to Jurgita Rimkevičienė, who carried out an analysis and tried to see uh, where suicides were most frequent, which groups were most prone to suicide. So we saw that the greatest increase was among women. We know that traditionally, because of economic differences, it is the men who kill themselves, but this year the increase was among women, and the same trend is observed in Japan. We might look for different reasons behind this. Well, one of the assumptions that we made was a greater incidence of violence in families, violence at home. Well, during the first wave uh, the, of COVID-19, we saw that there was an increase of violence at home. This was clear from police statistics, and our labor exchange. The data from our labor exchange also shows that the unemployment rate increased by about 40% among men and about 70% among women. And there were 3.6 thousand. Well, the difference of women who were laid off and who were recruited is 3.6 thousand. So this means that 3.6 thousand more women lost their jobs than found a job. And this figure among men was 9.1 thousand. That is 9.1 thousand men found a job, and more than were laid off. Here, well, we also have some data from our central registry, and I would like to thank Mr. Majauskas for helping us to obtain this data, because I believe that the Ministry of Health and all experts should follow the statistics closely and try to see what are the different trends in the various demographic groups. I know that Mr. Rory O'Connor and Odeta Galerišinytė will speak more on this.